Alright, so this is the stick drift I'm talking about. Got a good old fast knock event going on right now on 76. So gotta try to get one of them glowing masks, you know. But anyway, here's the controller I'm using. It's an old Xbox One controller. You can see, still moving to the left, even though I'm not pressing on the left stick at all. I've seen a lot of videos on here of people trying to, use isopropyl alcohol or just replacing the internal components of the controller to remedy this problem. Or, I believe you can send them back to Microsoft to have them fix it. But anyway, you can kind of see these sticks are messed up. That way, I'm using the same controller. But so this one's got a bit of drift going to the left. It's not really that bad, but you can see it's there, and it kind of be a little bit of a nuisance while you're playing. But this one's really not that bad. But I'm gonna show you a way to fix this without unsoldering any components or having to replace anything, and without using isopropyl alcohol to try to, halfway do it. And I've tried it on a couple of other ones before, and I had no luck with it because it's not really the problem. It's not the contacts in there are dirty or fouled with stuff, which it could be, but in most cases that I've come across, that's not it. Like I said, this one's not even really that bad. But yeah, it's there every now and then. So maybe you've got a controller doing this stuff, but I'll go ahead and show you a way to fix this and to save you a little money from having to buy a new controller. You will need a few things to do this, and a little technical know-how, but not very much. It's a pretty simple process and doesn't require too much disassembly of this controller. But I couldn't find a video showing what I'm about to show you, so like and subscribe, please. I would appreciate it. Well, let's get started on taking this thing apart. We can get back to getting one of these glowing masks. Alright, so before we get started, here's our same controller with the gummed up sticks. We're going to go ahead and procure a couple of items, and those are a hollowed out Torx bit. This is a T8 size. You got to make sure it's got the hole in it, because that's what screws are in the controller here. You got a miniature flat blade screwdriver, flat blade pry tool. This will help us take the side panels off and remove the identification sticker here. Hair dryer and flashlight. Just whatever you got laying around. Maybe not really needing one, but I'm going to use this to help you see what I'm talking about as we go. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and pry these sides off here. And then we'll go ahead and continue with removing the screws. So let's get started. So the best way I found to get in here is to start right here with the trigger. Go ahead and hold it down. Watch how you get in there. You don't want to damage anything internally. Just kind of pry this thing up. And then you continue down the sides. And it will come off like that. I think we're going to go ahead and get a little dog hair in here. I think we'll probably get the air compressor out and maybe get some alcohol and some Q-tips just to clean things up while we're in here. And so there's one. We'll go ahead and remove the second side. Just hold that down. Get up in there on the edge. Tie this up. Be careful. Don't rush. you're not comfortable doing this, that's fine too. Bam, come off there. Set these pieces aside. Some more hair in there. Alright, so the next step will be to remove these screws. There's one, two, there's one under the identification plate, tag, 3, and 4. So go ahead and remove these 4 with our hollow T8 torque bit screwdriver. See some little junky bits falling out of this thing. It's kind of gross in here. Remove them. Alright, so there's our 4 taken out. We're going to go ahead and remove this. And we're going to use our hair dryer to do that. Alright, so we got our hair dryer. I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. And just heat the sticker up pretty much. That way we can pull it back to access underneath it. Yeah, that ought to be warm enough. I'm going to use our flat blade to just kind of get up under the edge of the sticker here. We don't have to remove this all the way. We just want to bring it up enough to get under there to access that 5th screw. That should be far enough. Just enough to get in there to that last screw. Go ahead and remove that. Remove top plate. Set aside. Screw just want to hang out in there. I guess that's fine. Anyways, now we have access to remove the covers to our sticks. I'm going to bring you along a little closer and you can see kind of what we're doing here. So here, closer inspection, you can see we've got some hair in here. Maybe part of the problem. We'll go ahead and get an air compressor, which I could use a can of compressed air, but I don't have any here. I've just got a little bitty pancake compressor I keep here at the house. Use on odd and end things like this, or topping off tires if we need to. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it with air, and we'll blow this thing out prior to trying to work on anything. Alright, so before I use my air compressor, I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure everything's put up and not gonna blow away. Just gonna throw our screws on there. Maybe move this back just a hair, just so it doesn't blow away. Blow all this hair out of here. Can't really see on here, but this one's got quite a bit of net, which I'm having no problem out of the right side. It's all coming from the left. Only on the x-axis, I believe that would be. So yeah, go ahead and get my little air hose here and plug her up, blow this thing out. That seems to have gotten all the hair out of there. Let me bring you in a little closer so you can see what I'm going to do here. Alright, so here's our little trick. You see these green boxes in here? These are the sensors that are responsible for correlating actions placed on this thumbstick versus what is received by the controller and sent to your console. So you see this one goes up and down, which is controlled by this one, and our side to side is controlled by this box here. Now within this box is a little flat disc. It's like a spring. It sets against that sensor and it perceives your input. So instead of removing the bottom plate and unsoldering that connection to replace this sensor or to replace that spring, you can pry this apart if you're very careful. You don't want to pry too hard. You don't want to break anything while we're in here. It'll kind of defeat the purpose of, what we're doing. So we're just gonna pry this open a little, right in there with our little screwdriver. Just enough to separate it. That's all you need right there, that little space. Let me see if I can grab my flashlight and show you what we're gonna do inside here. So my camera sucks, but I may be able to get you to see what I'm talking about. So if you see how we pried that box open there, inside that box there's a little metal spring that sits against that surface in there, which pushes that mating surface against the sensor. And all we're going to do is wedge that little bitty screwdriver in there and pry it back apart, because over time those springs lose tension and it causes that sensor not to recognize exactly where it's at. So that's a real problem here. So we're going to pry on that just a little bit, close this thing up, and it'll be done. So let's do that. Alright, so now that we've got our box opened up here, let's see if I can get this light shining where you can see what we're doing. So all we're going to do is take our screwdriver, our little flat blade, we're going to set it in there and pry against this, in between this housing and that disc. And all we're going to do is expand it out by spreading on it. So all you want to do is reach in there and just spread it out a little bit. That's all we're trying to do. So don't really need to do much, just trying to expand that spring back out. You want to be easy on this so you don't, break anything while we're in here. So that's all we're doing right there. Just kind of pry it out. And that'll allow the spring to place more tension against that sensor to make it recognize its placement again. That's it. Go ahead and press this back against here now. So you got alcohol and cotton swab. Just apply a little bit of alcohol on that cotton. Just kind of go around. This is pretty unnecessary, but I just want to clean this thing up. Around the buttons here. Make sure everything will move nice and freely. Once you put everything back. A little hair in there. Get it out. Alright, now that we've got everything cleaned out, we'll go ahead and reassemble. I guess if you wanted to, I could replace these sticks right now if we had purchased them, but I'm just throwing this thing back together as it is. Don't really care. Go ahead and clean these ports out too over here, so there's no funky stuff in there. This is a controller I got at Goodwill, by the way. So, maybe you just have some laying around that you want to fix. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life or anything, or try to say that you should do this if you're not comfortable doing it. But maybe you just want to fix your controller up instead of throwing it out and buying a new one, save a little money everywhere you can these days. It's a pretty simple process. I did one on it did a controller like this a couple days ago and it worked just fine. I'm really happy with it, so figured I'd share this with you guys. Go ahead and reinstall our screws. Go ahead and clean these off too while we're in here. Get all this junk out of here. And now we just have to line these clips up. See those clips along here? These all line up with these ports. So we'll hook them in. Hook them in. A little push. Same thing over here. Line up your clips. A little push. That should be it. Let's go test this thing out and see if that took care of that drift we were having. Alright, let's go ahead and log back in here. Got the same controller. See those funky sticks on there. Back together. Let's see if that problem is gone. Once we load back in here. I think it's time to run fast snatch again too anyway, so took maybe about 45 minutes to do all that, and that's with recording and everything, so probably like a 15-30 minute job, really. Let's see what happens. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a test. I was only doing it on the x-axis. left side. Let's walk up here. See if we can get this thing to do it again. But I'm a betting that fixed the problem. Seems to have taken care of it. Yeah. All better. Good to go. Man, I really hope I get a glowing mess this time. Got a bunch of AFKers around. Good job, buddy. Not hating. Whatever, it's just a game. People get bent up over that stuff, I guess. In online communities. I don't give a damn. Yeah. No more drift going on. I saved another controller. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. And if you've seen anybody else try to do this, I couldn't find another video showing this way of fixing them. You know, everyone else just want to use alcohol and dumping it in there, and that's not going to fix anything. You gotta spread that spring back out. I guess you could, you know, remove that whole cover and replace the spring, but it's not really necessary. You just spread it back out a little bit and puts that tension back on that sensor. Sidestep all over fast notched. Yeah, maybe that'll help you. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Post another video later once we need to fix something else. Appreciate your time.